The streets currently listed in Zone 1, if you notice, will allow residential permit parking only from 6 a.m. to 12 a.m. That will be 7 days a week. The residents in that area will be issued a color-coded permit sticker that they're going to apply to their car. Same thing in Zone 2. If you look at the streets in Zone 2, those are strictly going to be the areas where cars in that area can park. Again, they will also have a color-coded permit, and their parking will be from 6 a.m. to 12 a.m. 7 days a week. Zone 3 is really what's left over from the residential parking. We really don't want them to delete those streets. We want to include them because, of course, there was a demand for residential parking, but they're also going to be allocated a different color-coded permit that they will apply to their vehicle. Really, the only changes we've made now, once we've outlined the 3 zones, is how these stickers are going to be applied to their car, and really the visitor parking passes. Visiting parking passes will now become a hang tag, and from what I understand, they're going to be coded, so a number will apply to it, and whatever officers are in that area can look at that tag and realize that that corresponds to an address, and they have to be within the same block as the host person's residence. That's currently how the ordinance reads now, so it's just a better way of protecting it. Certain cities around here have that. I know the city of New Brunswick, for instance, breaks everything down in wards. It's kind of almost similar to that. If you notice for the applications, all the parking permits will have a period where they're going to expire. It will be annual. Usually, looking at this, I believe it's going to be December 31st, and then all vehicles where you apply for the following year will have to put their new color-coded sticker on their window by January 15th. I don't know what the color-coding stickers are going to be. That's going to be based on what licensing and permit will, but each year, from what I understand, that the color coding will change. So cars will know who's supposed to be there all the time, and the police will be able to enforce it. And finally, in order to implement this, it was discussed that we feel the best way to put this into effect is once this ordinance becomes effective, we would like to have all 2008 residential parking permits that currently exist extended through the end of municipal business on the date February 28, 2009, in order to afford the Division of Licenses and Permits adequate time to implement this ordinance. That really outlines everything. If there's anything specific you'd like for me to address, I'd be glad to. If you have any questions for the administration regarding any kind of residents' concerns and or the police, the representatives are here.
Council President,
Yes, ma'am.
I just do in both Zone 1 and Zone 2, and perhaps you can clarify it. You made mention of it, and I have it highlighted. All parking in both Zone 1 and 2 will allow residential permit parking only from 6 a.m. to 12 a.m. 7 days a week. Now, what happens from midnight to 6 a.m.?
Since we're only really restricting residential parking at that point, anybody could park there. But you have to note, if those cars don't have the stickers, come 6 a.m. that morning, they can be ticketed. So, for instance, if somebody was parking that area, maybe they wanted to go to New York City for the night. They left their car there overnight. They went in for a show. You know, they'd probably be in violation because they parked there before, but there's nothing that restricts anybody from parking there from 12:01 a.m. up to 5:59 a.m.
Okay. All right. But those that have permits can park there anytime?
Sure, absolutely. There's no restriction preventing you to leave your car there 24 hours a day if you wanted to. If you have the
Okay.
residential permit.
All right. Okay, because I saw, will allow residential permit parking only from, so I thought, well, what happens during the night? Okay, I understand then.
I don't know, maybe the town does other things like street cleaning and that kind of thing. Maybe that's why they have that time period. I don't know. They do other
I
things
don't
that
think we-
time frame.
Do we do any street? No. Okay, I just couldn't figure that one out. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions on that? Okay, from the Director of Planning and Engineering.
Thank you, Council President. We have 4 items on the agenda. The first item pertains to Open Road Honda, known as Ryan Automotive on Route 1 North in Edison. We have a 2-part resolution. Part 1 pertains to my request for release of the cash performance bond in the amount of $49,763.37, and also request to release the paper performance bond in the amount of $447,870.33. We did receive a maintenance bond on October 16, 2008. The work at Open Road Honda was completed in September of '08. The second part is inspection fee refund. On January 3rd, 2007, the department collected $20,734.74 into the escrow account. We used $10,124.68, and I'm requesting a refund back to the applicant in the amount of $10,610.06. Item number 2 pertains to Bishop R. High School addition, which was basically constructed in the year 2004. We went through our accounting process. We collected escrow 5104 for inspection fees in the amount of $36,562.37. The department expended $4,090.94 in inspection fees, and we are recommending and requesting a refund in the amount of $32,471.43. The third item relates to S&A General Construction and Development at 6 Richard Road. The department collected on February 29, 2008, a $25,000 cash bond as a measure of protection for unfinished grading work, which was not able to be constructed during the winter. Subsequent to the winter, in the spring and summer, the applicant did come back in, finish the grading work, and now we are requesting the applicant get a reimbursement on his cash bond in the amount of $25,000. The applicant is S&A General Construction, 6 Richard Road. Last item on the agenda is engineering inspection fee refund to Barville Associates LLC, 40 Ethel Road. The township collected on 7/18/2001, $13,357.09 to the escrow account. A total of $2,038.69 was used for inspection fees, and we are requesting and recommending a refund of $11,318.40 back to the applicant. Thank you.
Well, we also have a stormwater compliance solution amendment, correct?
Okay, that made it to the agenda?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, as you may recall, back in 2007, the township was under a DEP mandate in order to come into compliance with stormwater requirements that fall under the NJPD's TRA permit. Back in March 9, 2007, a recommendation was made to award a stormwater solutions contract to Paul Ferrero in the amount of $97,750. Since that time, most of that work has been completed. As a matter of fact, 100% of that work has been completed. And now we're going into part 2 of the implementation program, which will cover the second sector of the Township of Edison. It consists of 2 components: outfall mapping in the amount of $12,320 proposed, and that's going to provide for mapping of 154 additional outfalls, which have been identified at a service cost of $80 per outfall, which totals $12,320. And in total, the Township of Edison has 417 stormwater outfalls. 263 of those outfalls were previously mapped under the initial authorization. We also have inlet inspection and marking, and this is $151,060. The reason it's $151,000 is the Township of Edison has 5,316 inlets that need to be marked. Under the initial authorization, 1,000 of those inlets were identified and marked, and now we're going for the 4,316 remaining additional inlets at a service cost of $35 per unit, which gives us a total of $151,060. So we are recommending a contract modification in the amount of $163,380 to the initial contract to Stormwater Solutions LLC to come into compliance with Part 2 of the Phase 2 of stormwater regulations, and this will cover North Edison and South Edison, so this will bring us into compliance by spring 2009.
Okay, any questions or comments?